And to set up a little bit about what we're going to talk about so that you guys understand who I'm addressing today. These are leaders in the hospitality industry. So we're going to talk about what it is to really be a true leader and get out of the management style and managing our data and getting into being true leaders. So back to this particular picture. It reminds me of my life in a way that I have this, developed this wonderful Zen life. And I also have this very barbed wire little crown that goes around me. So I keep information from coming in and I keep information from going out. I keep inspiration from coming in and I keep inspiration from coming out. So that is my history of who I've been and what I've been about, is getting this barbed wire to disappear and be very, very clean, and so that I can truly connect. To tell you a little bit about myself, so you have a little bit of background, I grew up in southern Indiana. I'm a Midwesterner, grew up with farmers, blue-collar workers, very basic, simple life. We had a little town. Everybody got there for their weddings and their funerals because they were all connected. I do believe my father was not part of the community, so you know, there was limbs in my tree. There are in my tree that does fork. It's not all the same trunk, so I do have a different mentality than the Midwestern group that I grew up with. My mom swears she took the wrong baby from the hospital because I am so different than my family. But that has also given me a really beautiful foundation. My dad was an innovator. He bought us a dishwasher. And it was one of those where you rolled up and you plugged it into the water spout, right? So my dad was not okay with the way that the dishwasher was programmed. He felt like whoever, the GE did it, which we were from Louisville, so God help us, we had a GE dishwasher, that the dial was not set up correctly. So he made markings on the dishwasher, so you started where the markings from my father said and not the way the dishwasher was programmed. So hence, I have become this, oh, there must be a different way to do this. Oh, life must be really different than the way that we've really set it up. Also, my grandparents were farmers, so I got to experience patience in knowing when to plant, knowing when to water, knowing when to fertilize. It's a big key component, when to fertilize, and when to harvest. So that was also a very big contributor to my life. So we as leaders get to take a look at what background that we have come up with, and then how we are moving that forward into the space as we connect with people moving forward. I listened to Simon Sinek and Seth Godin yesterday. They did a live presentation on Facebook about leaders. And they said that leadership is really sorely missing here in how we are right now in this lifetime. And that's what I understand about what you guys are doing and what we all are facing. We face every day that we have to manage data. We have to look at the data, we have to ensure the data. It's all about the data and managing the data, and we forget, and we are not encouraged to go and connect with our people on our teams. And I'm sure most of you here have owners' reports that you have to deal with, and you deal with owners' reports on a weekly basis. When you do that, it is all about data managing. And that's all that we are now trained to do, is data managing. So we're going to get out of that today, and I'm going to show you ways that you can connect with yourself. And I do want to say one thing. There will not be 5 steps to now learning how to lead. There will not be 3 key elements to being a leader. This is not what is happening. We will have an experience that you will connect to yourself so that you will then be able to be inspired by which 5 characteristics you just Googled that you want to incorporate into your life. I promise you that we will not introduce another 5 steps into your life so that you get to know. We are going to talk about raw leadership, relating, awareness, and worth. Relating, so critical. It isn't about what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad. It is about the way that we relate to the information, the way that we relate to people, the way that we relate to what life brings to us. When we get into that part about relating, then we begin to have choice. We begin to realize, and this is a big one, that life is impersonal. That was a very tough one for me to get because I thought I was personal. Things that were showing up in me were because of who I was, that this was a personal relationship. This was a personal matter that I had with this person. When I really started to taking on this idea of life is really impersonal, which comes from this concept of unconditional love. So when there are no conditions, unconditional means life has to be impersonal. Because the moment that we, hi, come on in, the moment that we have a condition means that there is something personal that is going on in that. So I'm just going to plant that little seed. I'm going to drip on you some things. So take a consideration. And once we start looking at life and it is impersonal, then we begin to relate to life out of choice. Because it is not going to come from a place of right and wrong and good or bad. Once we start taking on this impersonal relating, then we get to this sense of awareness. And awareness comes from 2 things, I think: feedback and denial. So when you're in awareness in your life, you're either getting feedback, which you're always getting feedback. So how are we relating to that feedback? And then, if we're relating to that feedback, are we aware of that feedback or are we in denial? I'll give you an example of denial. Sandy has a relationship to her body. Sandy's body has been giving her feedback for quite a while now. 50-ish years. One of the things about Sandy's body is giving her feedback about is that she has said, I have tried everything. I have tried everything to lose weight. The impersonal response of my body has said, not so much, San, not so much. So there's a certain amount of denial that's going on here. This part right here shows you the denial in my body. So as soon as I get into communication and I start really communicating to the feedback and to relating to this in a way that's impersonal, then I can start using the feedback in my body to really then give me an awareness of what I'm going to do next. What am I going to try next? What I'm going to do next? We are gone, but that is okay. We know why that's gone. Thanks,
yeah, you slipped probably. There you go.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. You can tell technology is not my gig. Oh, gig, that was a funny pun. Technology is not my gig. Oh, come on. Whatever. So, feedback. I'm going to give you one beautiful way to give feedback. It's a data source. It doesn't cost you any money. You won't have to order it through Amazon Prime. It will give you instantaneous, beautiful feedback on how you are relating to life. Are you all interested?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Great. Please stand up. Please make sure you have a little bit of room. Itty bit of room. Here is your gift for the day. It is called a squat hold. And when you go into a squat hold, you will get instantaneous feedback on how you are relating to life. So let's begin. So here we are. We're in the squat hold. Wonder what's going through the mind.
How long is this going to go?
Yes! How long is this going to go? That's a crazy woman up there. Oh my God, I don't know if I can do this.
What about my quad?
My arms are burnt, my hands are burning. Yes, this part is burning. What am I going to do? Oh my God. Oh, do I breathe? Can I breathe? Can I get into unison with my body? Oh, I don't know. Oh, let's go up. See, I have heels on.
Holy come on.
Up you go. That is a beautiful way to take a moment's break and understand feedback from your body. Because you get to watch your mind. Did your mind freak out? Oh my God, I can't do this. Oh my God, I can't do this. I don't know what I'm doing. Or did you go, I'm complete, I'm connected, I can make this happen. That is a beautiful way. Worth, really quickly, is your worth net worth or self-worth? Net worth, if you have this beautiful net, throw everything in it. It's my car, it's my house, it's my bank account, it's my relationships. When your worth is based on your net worth, then you're always going to be able to be pulled off track. If your worth is really about your self-worth, who you are, your connection to your core, the place when you do this and you wonder, who am I and what I'm about, and you're connecting to this, you're never going to be off track. You're always going to be able to take that feedback, take that relating how you're relating to life, and make that process through your self-worth. Relating awareness and worth. That is how we are going to start shifting our relationship to leadership, from data management and from getting away from dealing with human capital to human beings. That is the big key in what we're about. This is how I took on my life, and now when you get this is a great feedback mechanism. I get this. That's enough, Sam. You have to stop. So now I get to have a chance to say, how am I going to relate to that? Am I going to say, thank you. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate your leadership, your willingness to connect, your willingness to be in that place with yourself so that you become the leaders that we need. And you get out of your data management, you begin to connect with people, and you transition from human capital to human beings. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, stay up there so that you're in the frame.
Thank you.
Perfect. Oh, I like that slide.
Would you like me to tell you really quickly about this slide?
I don't want you to lose your feedback time. So you're at 14 minutes, just so you know. So I don't want to lose, so that'll give us about 11 minutes of feedback. So I just don't want you to miss that.
Okay,
Yep.
great. Thank you.
Mike?
Thank you, and thank you for being a volunteer. Sandy, a couple of things. First of all, you bring so much enthusiasm to the podium, and you are so comfortable up there. Even with all of the distractions that happened, it was like it was just part of everything. And so one of the most difficult things a speaker has is just feeling comfortable, confident, and projecting that. And whether you, and the interesting thing is sometimes you don't realize it because internally things are very differently are happening. But you come across as just very comfortable, very relaxed. And I'm the one who really appreciates that. Some of you might know that the, you know what the number 2 thing that people worry about the most? Are most fearful of?
What other people think.
No.
Dying in public speaking.
How they look?
No, number 2 is dying.
Oh,
Yeah.
dying.
Dying in public speaking, yes.
Number 1 is public speaking.
Public speaking, yeah, yeah.
So you know, that's wonderful to see. I really liked the By the way, the second thing I'll tell you is your slides are terrific.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they are just so simple, so plain, so intriguing. I wish you had had more time because I'm fascinated by that, by that one.
I will tell you a little bit more about that real quick when we get done, yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So that's really interesting. And so enthusiasm, great projection, or relating awareness and worth, raw. I've never heard that before, and that's a good thing. You know, I don't know, I assume you came up with that.
Yes.
Good. Well, take advantage of it and use it and develop that even more. Okay? So that's the good part. I want to be constructive and help you with a lot of things. So I'm going to give you some things, and I hope you take them as constructive. All right? I had trouble understanding how you were going to help me. And I had the unique ability to be your audience. Since one of my roles was a senior officer at Omni Hotels, I presented to the group you thought you were presenting to. And I understand. And it's a combination of the introduction was pretty general and about, you know, all these wonderful things about you. And your opening was weak. Because your opening was about you, and I don't know why that related to what you were talking about. I know nothing about your background. I know nothing about what you're going to bring to the party. You know, why we should be listening to you and so engaged, and it wasn't covered in the introduction, and I'd love to see that. And you know, I'd be very sensitive to that. And then the examples. I want you to give examples that are going to be relevant to the people around the room. In a business sense, I was really looking forward to feedback. I didn't think your example, it didn't catch me. And so a much stronger opening to get people's attention, and I'll be the guinea pig. I'll show you that stronger opening. Sam Horn. When I was in one of these 8 years ago, Sam Horn heard my opening and threw up. Sam is the, you know, she was supposed to be here last night. She unfortunately 2 nights ago and had to cancel, but she is a rock star. But she gave me a hint on an opening I'm going to show with you that I still use today, that some of you have seen. So I want you to think about the stronger opening. Now, one other thing, just for all of us to remember, and I know that this is sort of a practice. Before you stand up, make sure the technology works. And if someone comes in 22 minutes late, ignore them. Because what you did is you took the focus from you to the side of the room. And I'm sure you did not want that anyway. Because, you know, hey, there's traffic. And so that's just a staging kind of thing. But the important thing I want you to walk away with, well, some of my suggestions, but the important thing I want you to walk away from is you are a natural there. My guess is you have a great story to tell. In 12 minutes, we didn't get to hear it. And I want you to be thinking of examples that your audience will relate to and say, geez, that could have been me. And I'll show you a hook in my little opening too. Oh, I had one other thing. Think about what you're saying, and think about how often you use the negative example instead of the positive. In fact, one of the most powerful things you told us today is, I'm not going to do these 5 things or these 3 things. And you're too positive a person. I know that, just by the way you present. I know I was critical, but I hope I was helpful.
Yes, well, yes, you were very helpful. And you cannot make this stuff up that you have been in your career as Omni Hotels. When you said that, I was like, I had no idea that that's your background. And so when I'm standing up here doing what I'm doing, I was like, you just can't make that stuff up. So it's beautiful. Thank you very much.
Okay. First, I think you look fabulous.
Thank
You
you.
really look amazing today. So, so this is a new Sandy for me. I don't know that I've seen you in this mode before. I like the idea of embodiment in your presentation. I kind of have to agree. I don't know about that particular one, but I love what you were going for. So I think think about what other examples you could use in that piece, and because I think embodiment is something that a lot of us shy away from, and that could be a real interesting differentiator for you. You've got incredible energy. Love your spirit. I was a little lost in like the first 4 or 5 minutes of the presentation. You had some really interesting stories, and I thought every single one of them could be a side, almost a different presentation. There's something to be said about your farming grandparents and your enterprising dad and the lessons that you learned through those experiences. So I would explore them, but I would be really fierce about choosing which story I told specifically around raw leadership, because the language kept changing for me. And I'm analytical, you know this, right? So I was immediately looking for, okay, what's the thread? Where is this going? Where am I going to hear this again? And I didn't. So I love the raw leadership. I think that's genius. And so I think figuring out where can you take a story and tie it into that language so that it all connects. So picking a common language, and I also had the I'm not sure that and I think you've done this in a presentation previously too, where kind of that focus on something negative hijacked the message in a way that you didn't intend. So yeah, I think I would take a second look at that.
Great.
I thought it was that. I love your energy. You've got some real potential.
Great. Thank you.
So I really like your slides as well, and your energy. I thought, just starting from the top on your introduction, I think it could be much shorter and much more informative to the audience as to where your background is. So you started off your talk talking about your background, where some of that could have been in the introduction and not in the main body of your talk. And I think 1 or 2 testimonials in your introduction are fine, but I wouldn't have the 5 or 6 that you had in there. I really wanted you to get to the point, and I'm trying to hurry up because we don't have much time here, but I really wanted to get you to the point faster than what you did, because you kind of lost my attention, fairly quickly, and I wanted to be able to see what your acronym really meant. We really didn't even get into all that. On your slides, it seems like you were trying to convey too much information for each particular slide. You might want to consider, if you don't want to have a slide for a particular point, go ahead and do what Tom Nixon suggests and have a blank slide to put in there, or just take the button on the remote control and just black out your power presentation, so we were specifically concentrating on you and not on the slides in the background that really do not relate to what you're talking about right now. But I really liked your hand gestures, your body gestures. The other thing is, I would not use on the feedback, I would not use the suggestion of weight. I'm trying to lose weight now, and that automatically transferred to me. And I felt bad because I'm, at a plateau right now, and I'm sure there's other people in the audience. So I'd just be cognizant of how that works. But I'm gonna let other people speak.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks.
Sandy, thank you.
Thank you.
Good job, well done.
Thank you.
So just to repeat what everyone's already said, presentationally, just beautiful. Totally relaxed, so we were relaxed. Excellent eye contact, so we wanted to be with you. We were on your team. Loved that. A couple of things I would love the stories to be woven, as opposed to the first few minutes, your stories, and then the second part on leadership. I would love those to be woven together, so it was both and, not either or. If somehow that could be together and integrated. And probably same thing when I did mine last time. I had way too many examples. And that was it. And so I would say for your 30-minute, your 45-minute, leave them in. But for your 10-minute, you probably don't need that many. I loved your self-worth versus net worth. I loved your human capital to human beings. And I don't know if you could do a bit of a sandwich with that, meaning somehow in your introduction, I'd like to take you from net worth to self-worth. I'd like you to take you from human capital to human beings. When I was a kid, my dad blank. And then weave your raw throughout, because it's a great message and we're slow. So we need you to hit it a few times from different angles, because we're not going to get, you're a deep thinker, you know. The other thing is, like what we talked about last night was asking questions. I want to be invited into your picnic. So I'd love for you in the beginning to ask me a question, as opposed to stating, this is how my dad thought, this was my bio, this was my family life. Have you ever been in a situation with your dad where he's right and you're not? You know, whatever it is, whatever questions, but to invite us in pretty quickly on that, so that we can be thinking, we talked a lot about that last night, so that we can be thinking how it applies to us, and so that we can be going, oh yeah, I did that, oh yeah, I remember that, oh I feel that, or whatever. And I think that would get us connected, like immediately. There was one more thing. Passionate about connecting to self and not another 5 steps. So all of us can say, you came absolutely alive, like fireworks on that, and it was noticeably different than the rest. The rest was, I'm an authority, I'm going to speak to you, but and you were just, we were all like, I thought we were going to find something good. You know, we were all just like, oh my God. So I don't know if that means you take that down or you rise everything up. I have no idea what that means, but we were like on fire with you. We were like, yes, no numbers ever again. You know, so I don't know, like, you just, something burned in you, baby. Something was burning in there. Something was juicy, right? Yeah, that's right. And the last but not least is loved your introduction. Loved Essence Whisperer. I just loved all of that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, guys, so that puts us at 28 minutes. If anybody's got a burning comment to make, we'll take it. If not, we'll let you chat with Sandy afterwards.
If I can just add one thing, I know you like strong comments there. Everything was a plus factor. Just you were talking at us there, so you were like really like you made me thankful, because I know I've done that too in my talks, where I was talking at people rather than to engage them, be more at ease. You know, what Keller was saying.
I kept hearing you juxtapose data management versus leadership, and I think that's a great point in terms of content. How often do you see on a job application, whenever they want to see your management experience, why is that not phrased as, I want to see the leadership experience? Perhaps you've not had the title manager, but are you the person people always go to ask for help, and you lead them in the right direction, and focusing on leadership abilities rather than management titles? It kind of falls into that network. You know, you had this title, you had this car, you had this, versus your ability and your leadership. Management versus leadership. I love that. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.